You know, the norm. Alright. That'll do. That'll do for now. Let's go, folks. Probably should just went with a spin there. Get wrecked. Okay. Okay. I forgot to lock on. That's my bad. We'll keep that in there just because that's on me. That's just stupidity at that point. Get good, scrub. Alright, that makes up for it a little bit. Not really, kind of. Okay. Bum bum ba bum ba dum bum bum. Two secs, folks.
Jack ジャックについていくよ。敵だ。ジャックがいれば負けないさ。 ジャック、下に魔物がいる。
始末しておくか。
見ろ、闇が噴き出す穴だ。
波と一緒に魔物が噴き出した。
まさに闇の噴出口だ。さすがだなジャック。これで新しい道が開けた。
出てきたか。
ここなら大丈夫か。
炎に近づくな。体力を無駄に消耗する。
別の道探す。
あの炎邪魔だな。
水で消したいね。うっとうしいな。
出てきた敵を倒せば噴出も弱っていくみたいだ。うまくいったな。
お前たちも気を。
離れられたかな。
一度体勢を整えよう。ここを渡れば一番大きな塔へ行けそうだな。あれはキューブだ。
ここにあるんだ。覚えとこ。大歓迎だ。
Sorry, folks. Okay, so I'm just talking with the half. Ba 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 bong 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 ba bong ba bong bong. Alright. So we didn't get the level up on the mage stuff. That's why I took the reset there, because it was kind of... Okay, let's get this done. So we messed up the split somewhere in memories. I think illusion at Journey's End has to stay. All right, let's try that. Okay. Okay. Let's lock the fudge in. We got this, folks. Clearly we got this. We still got this. That was an awful fight. Oh, get good, scrub. So we've done no hero. We've done our Romeo to Deadman. So we've got a PB on the Romeo. We've got a PB technically on Chris Martin's run. This technically, if we finish a run, is a PB. So it's not a bad start to the day, I guess. Kind of, a little bit, not really. It's kind of garbage. All right. Okay, apparently it didn't register that I attacked him. I mean... memes! We got the memes! Jesus Christ! Let's try... Uno Memento again. We will escape this. Now open the window. Ah! All right. A bit better. Not great, but a bit better. Do, 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 do. Alright, sloppy there. Sloppy. But we'll take that for now. Back here. Alright, lock on. Better. It's going. We're trying to run this again. We got the thing in No Hero. We did about 33 minutes, which you can bring down. Said, I have no idea on the route for that, and I have no idea if there's any particular tricks or anything that anybody uses in that. So I'll take it for the time being, and we can come back to it. And now we've done one. It's one of those. Now it's done. We can then have a re-look at it. So we're gonna try Stranger Paradise. Then we might try one of the other ones. You know, we might try Shadow Rose or something like that. I agree. No, it sounds like you were bossing it. You bossed it. I don't know about that much. Don't know about that much. Now we're just trying to see if this is stable enough, as well as we don't just meme ourselves. We need to make sure that we are changing our weapons over adequate time. I might take the chance to do the thing at the door first. Yes, we'll do that. We'll stick to that instead of trying to do it there. It loses a few seconds, but oh well. Alright, we have our split. This is good. Then nice. Worth try, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, we might try some of the other Resi DLCs. We're gonna kind of see where we go. We might do some Slay the Spire. We're just kicking back today. We're gonna work with the vibe.
かりついてこいよ。
大歓迎だな。
やるぞ、ついてこい。
Aha! He gave me stone.
下に魔物がいる。
始末しておくか。
見ろ、闇が吹き出す穴だ。
闇と一緒に魔
Now gives me stone. I win. Stone bless thee run.
さすがだな、ジャック。
It's Friday after all. Absolutely.
新しい道が開けた。
出てきたか。
そう。
炎に近づくな。体力を無駄に消耗する。
別の道探す。
あの炎邪魔だな。
水で消したいね。体勢下がっ
Alright.
ぽい。
行く。健康だ。
敵発見。
蹴散らしてやるさ。
We'll see what the girls are doing later. If they're not too fussed, I might continue the stream later in this evening. We shall see.
Na.
ここなら大丈夫か。
この後どうする？
お出迎えだな。
叩き潰す。
出てきた敵を倒せば、もう一個も弱っていくみたいだ。
Alright, now we definitely have the mage equipped, which means we'll get the level up there, which is what we require, and we need to make sure we kill Chaos or Garland with that equipped as well. So we need to make sure we switch onto that.
余裕だな。
ここを渡れば。
We need to make sure that we're not rolling like an absolute spasticated goose, you know.
十分見つけたよ。
Movement is key. We need momentum.
やるか。
ジャックがいれば負けないさ。
Gonna keep rolling like a boulder.
何が入っているかな。敵だ。
やるぞ、ついてこい。闇が濃いな。
I agree.
間違いない。この先にいる。
I concur.
余裕だな。
当てにしてもいいか。
もちろんだ。
Yeeted.
闇に囚われた。後で。
Okay, we have the mage equip now, which should give us what we require to get slapped in the face. Level 6. Is that what we were missing last time? I feel like it could be. Alright, let's get through some of these. Oh, bloody hell, little lady fell over at nursery. Little lady, you clumsy. It didn't split on Chaos Advent, okay. Dawn of a New Journey, okay. Undo. So we need to take out the split for Dawn of a New Journey, that's the one.
そして探求のた
Alright, so this should give us all the things we need. Fingers crossed. Okay. No, not that one. That one. Then we're going to go down here. Aftershock. Edit party. Remove. Let's go. Okay, so we got the thing now, so we actually should have haste to move through this.
街からだいぶ歩いたけど、ここがあの子の言っていた洞窟かな。
奴らの巣には気をつけろ。
空気が違う。まるで異世界だな。
ああ、重い。
俺ここに来たことあると思う。
その感覚はよくわかる。 でも気にしない方がいい。どうせはっきりしないんだから。
あれが海賊か。
注意した方がいい。
Mosey on through here.
私たちの理屈が通じない。
手を使った攻撃をしてくるぞ。注意しろ。
うわ、させ
この匂い、かなり危険な酒だぞ。
That's better.
想的だ。
海賊は不思議な場所にアジトを作るな。
猫の魔物可愛げがないぞ。
本当の猫ならよかったのに。
I know, we do.
飲み込んでいたのか。
いくらお腹が空いてたって鍵なんか食べなくても。
いいっけ船長。ハッシュって意外とビビり。
驚かされるのが苦手なだけだ。倒すぞ。
巣が張り巡らされているな。
諦めろ。切り刻む。もらった。
Not bad.
船長。
Sancho! Can you clip that for me, Quirky? What, for this one?
こんな世界でも綺麗な場所はあるんだな。
I just need a clip of that Sancho part. Just because it says Sancho! Because that's been made into a sound bit for Sancho. Huh.
属船はすぐそこなのに。
壊れた船を使って渡る。
やってやる。
Huh. Alright, run towards him. I've not got the magic here, but to be fair... Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Okay. Alright, Pugilist, yes. Okay. Oh, thank you. That was a terrible fight, by the way. That is not how any of that should happen. But we'll roll with it. Tune.
Let him cook.
Thank you, Alan. I'm cooking. It is a bit warm. Ooh.
I said let him cook.
Appreciate you, Alan. Some terrible movement here, but
鍵があるからには鍵穴もあるはず。 探してみるか。
See, huh, see, huh.
よし先に進もう。
こういう城には隠し部屋とかお宝とかあるんだろうな。
ダークエルフの王の宝か。興味深いな。
Making me dizzy. How are we doing, Alan? Much planned for the day? You not vibing with some Crimson Desert?
手よあのぐっさり刺さった矢。嫌だ嫌だ。でかい弓がこっちを狙ってる。
What a quick crappy Domino's. I can't see another pizza place. Other than that zero place. Cook some food, Alan. Stop keeping them in business. If it's crappy Domino's, just go and cook some
止
food.
められないのか。
ジャック、この影に隠れるんだ。
But Domino's does sound good right now.
弓のタイミングを見極めないと。やってやる。
Mm-hmm.
ここはあのでかい塔の中だろう。さあ、奥に進んでみよう。
Alright, and now we swap over to Marauder. We'll use the fire to clear out some of this room. Go, go, go. Go, go, Power Rangers. Do, 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 do.
よし。 確信が欲しい。
強い魔物と
Music requests are open. I've just put Final Fantasy Chill music on for the time being, but feel free to queue up some music if you want some music.
やってやる。
This is your radio station. This is your gaming station. This is Gordo's Games. Alright, we need to send to Duelist after this.
これでいくらか戦いやすい。
Sure, that should give us enough to get to Flea, and then we should be on our way. And then, yeah. Should be Gucci. Should be all good. Should be all good. Then we have to work our way to Berserk. Why are you talking so much shit today? I don't know. I just feel like it. Maybe it's all the drugs. Alrighty. Exclamation mark skip and it should put the next track on for you. Alright, so if we go like this. Three. That's just enough. Marauder there.
私はここにも
Alright, now we've got Flee, so
できる？
無理だ。来たことがある。
this lasts a little bit longer than Haste, but we'll use this for the first part. Oh. Well, FPS just like dies when you touch those orbs.
天候を操作する装置か。
注意しろ。あれは自然現象が歪んで魔物化した存在。
歪み？
自然界に不自然な力が割り込み、歪みが生じる。そして歪みから闇が生まれる。
よく知ってるな。
誰かの受け売りだけどね。
滝の奥まで行けそうだな。先に進むぞ。
絶景。でもなんだろうこの違和感。
I'm so the new age.
何が生じる予兆だ。
Oh la la.
やってやる。
Okay, that's fine. Bit sloppy getting up there, but you know.
ゲド、雷は克服したのか。
情け。
Alright.
その言い
I'm feeling better about this.
あれに当たるとかなり痛いから普通嫌いでしょ。そういえばさ、カオスに会えたらネオンは何でも言うこと聞くんだよな。
そんなこと言ったっけ？
言ったよ。
言った。
ジャックは覚えてる？
ああ、今のところな。
忘れろ忘れろ早く忘れろ。
Alright. Let's make our way around here.
ように気をつけて。
Let's get slapped around by that. Who doesn't want to get slapped by an arrow? Arrow. Let's go. This guy's a dick. We have to change to swordsman after this one. Mother Choco!
この程度でこいつはカオスじゃない。さっさと片付ける。
Always gets the grab on me. Alright, nice, nice, we got that one. And then we'll go with swordsman up in here up until we get to the ogre, I believe. Ah, we're gonna fall off this traversal part so many times. I recall it. Is it going to go well? No, no, it's not. But we're making our way through. I'm making my way downtown, walking fast. Ah, I think I'm supposed to switch thingy over, not... I think I should have kept Marauder out and Swordsman there. That might just be my me making a slight mistake there. We'll see. See if it costs us. Okay.
あまり橋に近づくな。落ちたらひとたまりもないぞ。
道がなくなった。
何かあるはずだ。探す。
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
魔力を利用。
Oh, we did a bad thing. We did a bad thing.
有利に戦えるぞ。
Okay. We're supposed to move this first, then hit it. It's okay. It's okay.
人がトリガーになっている。
We're gonna make mistakes. We're technically de-rusting here.
この塔は登ったことがあるような気がする。でも塔なんかあったかな。
蜃気楼という言葉が頭に浮かんだ。見えないものが見える現象だ。
蜃気楼の塔か。幻想的だね。
Kind of needed to hit there so I can get us. Could have took a hit somewhere. Just so we can get Flea or some active so we can keep moving. Be better tempo. Right.
やってやる。
Da, 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 da. All right. Now we can just get cooked here. That's just gonna happen. Let's see. See what happens. If it flies, that's just the thing. There's no biggie. It just kind of sucks. All right. Now, we should be able to do this next part mostly without doing... Yeah, we'll do the menus in the lift. It's fine. Sweet. How are we doing, Maiko? Welcome in, welcome in. And then, you know what, we will just change our classes because we're doing it all now. We're just going to take the slightly slower route here, it's fine. Maiko, sir, how the devil are we? Let's go ahead and set this up. Cyclone Rush, Moon Slash, and that last one will be thingy when we get around to it. Boy Mass, nope, haven't bought it yet. We're doing good, thanks Max. But are you going to? So this is on story mode now. This is a story mode speedrun, but it's on PC because I haven't run on PC for story, and we're just gonna roll with it. And you'll see the difference between what I was doing yesterday. We should have used Flea there. Why am I using a haste? Flea is better.
どういうこと？
落ち着いて。さっきの塔の装置ここに飛ばされただけ。クリスタルはここの上階にあるかもしれない。
Aha!
それは気をつけ
Sucks to be you!
お前の願望か。
どっちもかもね。
Come and get me. We got lucky there. I know what I forgot to do here. Never mind. It's never mind. Okay. One of the old strats that we used to use. Which is using the maids to charge up our MP.
見ればわかる。
That's fine.
そうだよな。あ、ごめんごめん。
謝るな。いい加減俺になれろ。お前の雑な注意喚起はたまに役に立つ。
ってそれ褒めてない。
この光景嫌な予感がする。
Alright, that'll do. But yeah, Micah, I still recommend it. I do. What's putting you off? Alright, this is story. You just see how I trashed that thing? By the we're using the strat which is referred to as the meta axe, basically.
おとなしくしていれば倒されずに済むもの。
Oh, okay. How rude. I mean, you're not gonna let me finish a spin? How dare you? I'm alive, aren't I? I'm alive. Oh, I'll convince you now, alright? I'm gonna go and...
下手をすると大騒ぎになる。
You know Tiamat, right?
気をつけよう。
Miyako, you know Tiamat? You set off, trying to hit me with your arrow. I don't want no arrow. Yes, alright, let's go and fight Tiamat. Oh la la. That's happened to me once before. No, not again. PTSD. PTSD. So nothing bad happens there, but you can get hit back down a level and have to take the lift back up, and it's like, oh, okay. That sucks. I mean, the swap between job systems and that is always awesome as well. You got that to enjoy. I'm gonna see if I can just get. No, I can't get it. Okay. So be it. Why are we not using the Marauder, the Berserker class? Question mark. Alrighty, okay, we're gonna go back to Tiamat. Alright, absolutely gonna be fine, Maiko. Absolutely. Gonna convince you. Stay phase 1. Phase 1 done.
勝った。
Want some more? Let's go phase 2.
そうだね。うん、もう油断しない。今度こそ完璧に倒してやる。
What?
首生え変わるぞ。どい。
体力まで復活するわけじゃない。何度だって切り落としてやるよ。
Phase 2. Yes, you can change the appearance. So you always play as we'll go Earth Crystal first. You'll always play as Jack, but you can change the appearance through one of the other ones. There's like skin overall. So you can just reskin them with like Neon or Jack or Zed. So you can choose like the appearance of them. I'll show you that now because we're going to remove one from the party. So we're going to remove here. And then we're going to pick the skin. Then we're going to get Brewer Tackle. What? Are you having a bubble?
Hey, ここからね。
わかる。山を登るのかと思うとうんざりするよね。どうした？
さすがに寒い。
高山地帯だからね。吹雪なんかも体験できる。
吹雪って何？吹雪って。
ああ、ダメだ、やばい。ここ嫌な予感する。
Good solid movement tech.
山登りが得意なのかもしれない。
たとえそんな気がしても他人の感覚かもしれないから過信しないことね。
経験者は語るか。
泳げるつもりで水に入って溺れたことがあるの。
せいぜい気をつけよう。
I swear, if I get knocked.
人が石になってる。
We're getting staggered a lot more than normal.
わからない。でも眠ってるような顔をしてる。素敵な夢を見ていることを
We're zooming.
深いつらら
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
だろうな。
ねえ、頭の上も注意しないと。
吹雪だ。前も見えないし。
Stick to the right.
最悪。
まさか本当に吹雪いてるとはね。まあ注意して進みましょう。なかなか大変な場所だったわ。どこかで休憩したいところ。
ソフィアに賛成。ここからね。山道は疲れるな。
そうこの山に着いた時の喪失感
What do you think to the run, Mayako?
山道を
Is it quick enough?
オレニオガシに塞がれているわね。アッシュ、何かわかる？
さっきの岩と同じ色をしているジャック調べよう
だがまず魔物を片付けよう。
Nah, okay, you're right. I mean, I'm hurt. Also, true. If it counts, I played this before becoming a speedrunner. Yeah, this was a game that I'd previously come back to a while ago. Can you give me what I'm looking for? Thank you. Brutal tackle.
まだやれる。
Alrighty then. That seem that hard, Mayako? Trust the speedrunner. Trust me.
なんとかしないと。
体を失ってもなお生きようとする見習うべき
魔物に教えられて
Believe me, it's fine. Everything is fine.
こいつは手強いんだ。最後まで気を抜くなよ。
あもちろんだ
That is a dragon zombie dead.
みたい。
だね。これで少し
Zoom, 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 zoom. I'll just use an axe. I'll just use an axe. That's just it. You can do this with some of the other stuff. You can get builds like don't. Okay, so just take out the fact of me speedrunning this. You would level up a lot more. You would enjoy a lot more. You would play a lot more than normal ways to do it. I will play. I'll play it hard mode after. Don't worry. We're doing that today. Clearly, that's going to have to be a thing. What is the aim of this stream, folks? We're here to convince Mayako that Gordo is not lying to him. Your words will never trust a speedrunner. I am by definition a speedrunner, right?
ありえない。さあ、とんでもないぞ。落ちないように気をつけないと。
トラップか。こんなところに隠れていたか。
正面突破はしたくないな。
だったら考えろ。別の手段もあるはずだ。
You said a bad word to me. That is not true.
壁が動いてる？このままじゃまずい。
あいったわね。先に進みたいのに。どうするジャック？
Didn't need to kill him, but I'm going to. This way. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have one bar here. Because what we're going to do is going to wait for this thing. Oh, we didn't do enough damage. Yes, we did. Aha! Can't touch this. Do 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 do. Huh? Not sure why we. Oh, we haven't used haste this yet.
なあ
Okay.
ソフィア
My bad. My bad.
って何なんだいくつか効果は分かったけど全体として何
気にはなるけど私たちには
Run past you.
トスなら知ってそう
I hold silver.
思い出してきた
Oh, unlike where it makes think I've got no two so decided to do loads of quizzes. Okay. Well, tell them to, you know, like, comment, subscribe at Gordo's Games and, you know,
のは死ぬ時だけ
also donate to charity whilst in the stream, you know, all that stuff.
ジャック怒ってるのか
そういうわけじゃない魔物どもがあれに触れると俺の頭には過去のクロス一生は俺を霧から守ってくれる正体が何だって構わん
Alright, let's do that.
ここからね
So Jack can be a girl but still has a male voice. Absolutely. I mean, this is a very woke era we're in, Mariko. Just saying.
用意しろ。
どうやらここからが本番みたいだね
カオスの一人だ。簡単には死なないさ。ジャック、準備はいいな。
当たり前だお前たちこそ俺についてこいよ
終わりね
That was bad. I need to remember some of these old fights as well. The best ways to do them, like one shots basically. I'm too old for this. What, for the work mentality or for this game? You and me both. You and me both. Alright, that is Lich done. So we're on to the Great Malbro next. Malborino. The old Malboroni. What kind of Final Fantasy game is it if you don't have a Malbro?
This風景知ってるな
そういう話はジャックが怒るぞ。
過去を忘れていることには理由がある
どんな？
カオス討伐に集中できる他に何がある
よし、俺はジャック説を指示しよ
水綺麗だね飲めそう
立派に育って土がいいの。
山名だけなんとかしよう。
山本でどうにかできそうだな。
Do this.
霧で視界が悪いわね注意して進みましょう
And do this.
君たちはどっちを選ぶつもりなの？
何の話？
カオス
Go this way, and then we'll go this way. Alpha la 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 la.
聞いてない。
そんなはずはない。忘れたんでしょ？
商品扱い、しかも財宝と同列。セーラ姫は断固抗議すべきだな。
そうね。あの城には古い考えがこびりついた汚れみたいに残ってるわ。
ツタの洞窟か。湿度が高い
We go down this way, then we squeeze past this guy. Alpha la 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 la.
姫を選べば未来の王だ。そんな思い。
でも財宝もついてくるだろ。
We don't want to go into this fight with any buffs because he does stuff to us, if I remember rightly. He does the bad juju. The juju is bad. He does something. That should have been a brutal tackling down. Like that, basically. La 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 dee da da do. Into the gulag. Now the gulag, we need to make sure that we have mage on as well for the lifts. Yes. It's all in there.
随分と立派な扉。あそこを通れってことかな。
でも
Don't worry about lava. Only hurts if you stand in it.
こんな風
Not if you run through it.
あまり熱くないね。
火山だ。なるべく吸い込まない。
邪魔な溶岩。
渡る方法があるはず。探そう。ここからね。火のクリスタルが復活するとどうなるんだろう。だって今でも火は使えるよね。
火の温度は本当はもっと高いんじゃない？
へえ。じゃあお湯が早く沸くんだ。
強い火はより大きなエネルギーを持って国の発展には欠かせない要素よ。さっき通ったところが見えるわね。
ああ、少しずつだが確実に登っている。
終わりね。まだやれるわ。
Let's
だいぶ登
go.
ったよな。山頂が近いんじゃないか。
ということはカオスも近い。
気合を入れておけ。火のカオスを仕留める。
Let's go. Marilith. You know Marilith, right, Mayako? You know, all these famous faces you're seeing all over again. It's like watching FF9.
大きいのに素早い。
不用意に近づくとやられるわ。しっかり見極めて動かない。
Alright, so we're making... we're not doing as much damage here. I don't think I've got the right buffs on.
火のカオスらしくなってきたな。油断。
Let's Yeah, we didn't need no jump strats. We didn't need no rebirth ring. We don't need none of that. We got an axe. Get good, scrub. Who needs a rebirth ring? Jarvan's gonna be here like jealous. It's like, wow, you did that without a rebirth ring. Like, really? He didn't even jump. He can't even jump in this game. Unless the Dragoon can. I've never actually tried the Dragoon class, but you know.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna just do something very quickly, just because we don't have some of the things on it, which I think would be... no, come on. Menu in. Menu in, bad. Rotek. There's another one. Reinforce I'm supposed to get. Yeah, I'll make some I'm trying to remind myself in this one, but yeah, I do enjoy this run, to be fair, so. And it's a good run. It's interesting to watch. Well, I think so anyway.
起動はしてないか。
いろいろと動き出したみたいだな。
無事開いたわね。行きましょう。
なあジャック、
なんだ過去の話か。
大切なことだと思わないか？
だったら自分の胸にしまっておけ。
俺たちの故郷はこことは違う場所。ハオスを倒して光の戦士になるためにこの世界にやってきた。
独り言は頭の中で言え。
Oh, I thought she was gonna get me just as I came out of my iframes there.
さすがに一筋縄じゃいかないわね。
Which wouldn't be the first time. Would not be the first time. On your left. We'll do this to charge back our mana, our MP, our magic points, our mania points.
あとは白い部屋、街とか俺の家とか、そういうのが全然思い出せない。うちに帰りたいな。
You can do it.
うちが思い出せないのに変だけどさ。
Wow, that was slow.
おっと、みんな聞いてる？
We'll use that for later. Making my way downtown, walking fast.
みんなもそうなの？忘れていることに意味があるなら、思い出すことにも意味があると思わないか？
知るか。
俺たちに光の戦士になるっていう以上にもっと大事な目的があった気がする。二人はさ、何か思い出した？
私は
おい
生まれやクロス師匠のこと。
Um, Alright, now we hold left, then we go right.
ここまでにあったのが終わりだ。終わるな。動きを止める方法があるはず。それを見つけな
あいつ他の敵とは違う。みんな気をつけて。
Oh, that was close. Quake did not nearly do enough. But it's okay. Wow, that killed like frames.
ジャック、
話は後だ。この先から強い敵の気配がする。頭の中で過去をいじり回してないで、目の前の出来事に集中してくれ。
Alright, we used... no, this fight's gonna be bad. We should have used Lunatic there. Okay. Another one back to the dust. That was piss poor. We could have done that a lot better. Dum 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 dum. I agree. Um,
海の中まで来たんだね。
なるほど。水のカオスがいてもおかしくない。
この模様は火を使うなってことかな。
扉が開いたのは電源装置を壊したのだ。
まあ、開いた。
Get yeeted. So we have to switch weapons there for a reason. The weapon we're using has line in it, so when we hit those generators, it does it in one shot rather than like 4 or 5. That way. Definitely know where I'm going at all times in this game, no question about it.
To いうことは水のクリスタルに近づいてるってこと。もっと降りてみよう。ジャックはさ、セーラ姫のことどう思ってるの？でも昔話じゃないよ。今のジャック。
姫個人には興味がない。ただ絶対に守らねばな。
It could have been worse. Could have been better. Could have been worse. We'll take that.
これは扉の鍵だと思う。
そうね。行動範囲が広がるわ。
愛情完了っと。
そういえば海賊たちが怒っている。
Okay, we managed to do that without dying. That's good. That times we've fallen off the edge before.
クリスタルが復活したらバランスが取れて海は海らしくなるでしょうね。
海らしい海？
私も知らないけど。
そんな海は海賊たちだって知らないだろう。どっちにしても文句を言いそうだな。
Haha! No worries, Mayako. You go and shower up. I appreciate you getting cleaned up for me. Didn't mean to do that. That's my own fault. Karma. Stop being a dick, Gordo. No worries, Mayako. You take it easy, good sir. I'll see you when you get back.
まだやれるよそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれそれ
嫌な感じがすごくしてきた。多分この先に。
ああ、最後の顔。ようやくだ。
Alright, let's take on old Crackerino. Alright, we'll take that.
あれは間違いなく落としたね。
次は完全に仕留めるぞ。
こっちの様子を見ているはずよ気をつけて
刺激が重い。まともに受け止めるのは危険だ。気をつけて。
Jeez, we got caught off guard there. Da-da-da. Oh, is Excel having Melania issues? Okay, so in terms of things, we've got a few to go. We'll be on huge list by the time we finish this thing. So we need to brutal tackle this guy. I'm pretty sure how this one works. Remember rightly. And hopefully it goes down in one. Sometimes it doesn't, and it's a cut block. Welcome back, Quirky. Welcome back. We are making our way through this. You're welcome. So now we have to play as Jack. So there's a reason we don't play as Jack throughout the run. It's because his soul bursts are some of the longest animations. That's why. No, it's still.
セーラ姫の言う通り、変化の時なんだろう。人の心変わりもあり得る話だ。
戦ってる姿。
Okay, so we want to charge up this brutal attack before he gets close to us. Okay. I think we've got a bad axe, to be fair. You? I just want to use my moves. Asshole. All right. That kind of sucked. But did we get an axe? No, no axe, no axe, no axe. I might have to take a menu here just to make sure I level up an axe, because otherwise we're going to have memes with old didgeridoo Iron Giant. Alrighty then. I was trying to speed it up, but you know. Unfortunately, that was a terrible fight. Normally should be one brutal tackle, but he knocked us out of it, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Aha, aha, aha. Smithy. Oh. Wow, we got nothing good. I just wanted a good app. Let's reinforce. I feel like it's a marauder. Swordsman? Who's got it then? Who's got reinforce? Show me the monies. Yeah, we're hemorrhaging time here just because. But I was just curious as to why we don't have a particular thing. But unless we do have it and I missed it. We do have it. Alrighty then. This is the level where I used to get lost all the time. I actually had to spend time to learn the route to this because I used to get all sorts of turned around. But we are almost done. Yeah, I got lost in here plenty of times. Because we had to go through this one first, and I was like, oh, where's the wall? And there's like, okay, there's another wall. But then there's another part where it's like there's a little trap thing, and you're like, oh, naturally you go through there, right? No, you just carry on and you hug the left and then run around and do another loop to loop and you twirl around and you know, you do stuff. You do stuff. So I'll show you in here. So if you go too close to that thing there, it traps us. So we want to hug left and then we go up this way.
この世界にはコーネリアの他にルフェインという国があった。コーネリアがずっと
Gotta get past this.
田舎の村みたいな雰囲気。コーネリア人はルフ
And then we'll find this one.
ところがルフェインが短期間で大きく発展した。
Run past the Tombury before he starts trying to grief us.
そして武器も作った。
Over this way.
話途中だったね。まあすぐ終わる。
Get hit there multiple times and ask why. Tell me why.
兵器の性能を目の当たりにした国民が不安に思い始めた頃、
また鍵のかかった扉。古代人はセキュリティ意識が高いのかな。
お疲れ様ジャック。開いたわね。
You are my fire. Yeah. That episode lives rent-free in my head.
コーネリアの風景に馴染まない異質な場所はルフェインの忘れ物と呼ぶ。
And then we go this way. And then we're gonna find this.
忘れ物というより贈り物。
閉じ込められた挙句敵のお出まし。ルフェインは
And then we ignore him because he's a bellend and he likes to throw shit at us. And I didn't really think there's any need. And we touch this crystal.
これで
And then we get this chest. And we get that key.
これで全部
And then we go to the lift.
してほしいわね。
Oh, no, 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 no. That could have went wrong. We have to have the, let's just see. It's always armor of some sort. It's never a thing. We have to have a scythe instead of a thing.
必要な扉がやたら多いわね。それだけ重要な場所も。さようなら。
Welcome back, Mayuko.
これで全部反応したみたい。調べてみる。
Exclamation mark skip and play that tune. Did it work? Quirky, can you try mod squad? Okay, mod squad. Sorry, Mayuko. Did it skip? Yeah.
この扉の向こう。私の予感ではアストスと会えるんだけど。どう？
これは強い闇の気配しか。
We're just vibing here. Blah, 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 blah.
戦い方をするやつがいたんだろう。まったく古代の技術ってのは多彩だな。
こ
I didn't mean to do that. That was bad. We did a bad juju.
でも私たちを殺したい感じだね。
金はどうだろう。でも何もあるものか。
Don't you yeet me like that.
Grab his dick and twist it! Oh my god, dude. This
I
is
can't.
an MMA fight, dude. Too much. Twist that dick!
I took off his lower half. Technically, I've twisted it off.
Oh my god.
Technically, he is without metallic penis. Man did not come equipped with secondary one in upper half. That went with the legs.
Just a moment, you just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what?
Come on.
Gentlemen, this is
Democracy Manifest.
Have a look at
This.
the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. Get some cuffs. Why did you do this?
Hey, what one?
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating
Hello,
people?
meal. A succulent Chinese meal.
that's
Oh, yes.
nice.
Hot dog, sir. Oh, yes. Yes. You know your judo well.
Good one. And you,
No, sir. Are you ready to receive my limp penis?
How dare get your hands off me. Ta-ta and farewell. One top look. Laban.
俺の障壁を作っている。
Let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just go.
魔物にやられたって感じとは
This way.
わけを聞いてもはぐらかされるだろう。
あいつは俺たちを利用している。
さて、動力源を壊したから障壁は解除されているはずよね。
なあジャック、覚えているか。クロス衣装はもうあの霧から俺たちを守ってはくれない。
I wanted that away.
いわゆる自分との戦いが始まるのね。
ジャックには悪いけど弱そう。
言ってろ。なあ、
Then this way.
何をしている？
この中の魔物を倒そうとしている。
それがアストスから話を聞くための条件。
アストスから何を聞く？
あいつはいろいろ知ってると思うよ。
Aha.
この世界の状況とか歴史。
Misa too fast.
行き止まり？上に行けそうなんだ。
俺もそんな気がするんだよね。
Misa not too fast. Me got slapped.
いいね。道を切り開いたって感じだ。
俺は世界の状況だの歴史だのに興味はない。
興味の対象は光と闇、カオス、光の戦士たちか？
いや、アストスのことでもルフェインのことでもない。俺が知りたいのは
こういう忘れ物から闇が生まれるのね。
闇に繰り出されるようなんだ。
もし誰
Come
か
on.
が教えてくれても理解でき
Don't fight the cactus. They always win. This way.
いかにも
I knew where I was going.
それを守る魔物
Ah,
まで。
uh,
わかりやすいね。
これでどこかの障壁が解除されてくれ。
ジャック、大丈夫？
心の拠り所だった使命感、それが消えてしまったんだもの。これまで通りで。
でも ルフェインの闇はまだ生まれ続ける。俺たちの仕事はまだまだ残っているんだ。
ゲドの言う通りだ。
that way.
頑張ってくれ。俺たちがあんたを支える。
I got so turned around then. No.
ネオンもそんな気持ちになるんだ。
ゲドは黙ることを覚えた方がいい。
手強そうなのがいるわね。
さっきの塔で何か見た？
はっきりしない。ジャックは何を見たんだろうな。
ジャックに思い出してほしいこと。
Alright, now we'll go this way. We'll do this. I told him. I mean, tattoo. I'm here for that. That's a better choice. That is a much better choice. Alright, Mimi thing.
ジャックはこの先も戦えるの？強敵の気配感じてるよね。
戦うさ。アストスから敵の名を聞くためにもな。
2 secs. I'm just vibing to the song, right? Behemoth for that, mofo.
まるでクリスタルの化け物。
もう一度だ。もう一度狙う。
あまり
So what happens when you got a good axe? What happens when you got that good stuff? Got that good. GG. Thanks for the GGs. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Alright, we've got this, then we've got chaos, and then we're done. Finito. Oh, shit, I'm lying to you. We've got this, then we've got... Oh, yeah, but one of the worst fights going. Okay, it's about to get toxic. Yeah. Alright, we'll go to the right hand side first of all. Yeah, it's about to get bad. It's about to get bad. This fight gets cooked in so many ways, and I'm rusty as it is, so we're about to get absolutely slapped like a wet fish on a Sunday evening.
思い浮かべるのが難しいな。
あなたが地を這う虫だとする。ルフェン人は空高く舞う鳥。あなたを食べはしないけど、あなたの庭に糞を落とす。
ひどい。ギョロギョロよく動く目玉だ。
鬱陶しいから閉じてもらおう。
地面が揺れている。崩れるのか。やりすぎたかもな。
知ったことか。それよりも
Alright.
分かったことがある。
Then we go this one.
一瞬で消えたよね。
ああ、他のゾーン
Hug the right. Get hit.
骨が。
俺 俺をここへ送り込んだ連中は世界がつながることを恐れている。
Immediately get hit by everything.
過去が蘇ること
Questions life choices.
それは突然消えた
That's not the way. Oh, it is the way.
全くの嘘というわけじゃない。
It all works out in Gordo's mind. When you clearly meant to go that way. I was like, oh yeah, that is it. I know there was something funky about that part, but I always forget.
また石像が
Even like when I used to run this a lot.
だが目を離す。さあ次の像へ行くぞ。
行こう。
みんなちゃんとついてきてるわね。
ああみんないる大丈夫ださて
Alright, and now appear to the right.
あと一つ。さあ行くぞ。ルフェインが送り込む闇とは何だ。
魔物を増やす動物の魔物化を狙う人も魔物にする全て混沌の闇が引き起こす現象
闇は増殖するということね。
クリスタルの輝きを隠してしまうのもやめ。
結果
Probably don't need to grab all those. Probably could just run through most of this part, but I guess it's just habit at this point because I've always done it.
役目は
慣れは危険よ。
この言葉そっくりそのまま返す。やるぞ。
Let me go. Yeah, the mind flays in this are a pain in the ass. They really are.
進んでもらおう。
魔力が蓄えられている。いただいておこう。
いいな暴れさせてもらおう
俺たちは光の戦士として世界から闇を取り除いている。
だがやりすぎたからルフェインが闇を送り込んだ。
闇が減っただけではなく
Oh, I didn't mean to do Lightbringer. I need to start doing Lightbringer.
コネリアの姫たち。
Oh, I wasted it because that wastes 2 bars on my thing. Yeah, Rexon.
届いてくれ。
Oh no, let's fist bump. Ugh, friendship. No, we weren't quick enough. Okay, we lose time on the menu there. So, oh no. No, we weren't quick enough again. Ah! So we want to have Mage set up here because we want to use Arrow Gar for this next fight because it's a pain in the ass. So our whole thing is to try and group them up with Arrogar. Group them up with Arrogar. And go, woo woo, and they all get together. They meld. They meld. So rusty. It's great. 137. This is where I'd be finished in my run on console so far. We've not got that much left, to be fair. All right. And then we'll take a short break after this one, and then we might find something just to kind of mosey us through. Let's get this.
覚悟はいいな。
ジャック一人じゃこの先無理だろうしね。
私たちはそのためにここまで来た。
ジャック
Move your ass on your right.
コーネリアはどうなる？
何が何でも守る。それ以外に選択肢はない。
ネオン心配いらないよ。
Little nightmares.
必ず元に戻るから。
Do you want what you enjoy doing? I try. I try. I'd like to say I do for the most part. Am I a big streamer? No. Will I be a big streamer? Probably not. But I enjoy doing what I do.
アシュ俺たちも踏ん張りどころだ。
分かっているけど。ジャック、後ろは気にせず、あんたが
I just feel like I should take that Erica there. I agree. Yeah, maybe I should have took the Erica there. I could use it whilst casting another arrow.
バカな奴らでそんなわけあるか。ほどなく出口か。守りきるぞ。
Alright. Erica set up. Let's see how this goes. Like I said, we want to group them up as much as possible. That's the aim here. Huh? Ah! Mother chucker! How dare you? Okay. Clearly, we're rusty. And that's okay. That's okay. I agree.
ルフェインからこの世界を解き放つために何度も何度も失敗して闇に落ち続けたこの世界に知るべきではない異物。でも
今回はマストスが上手に導いてくれた。初めてみんなが生きてここまで来た。あとはあんたが闇を支配できれば。
闇に打ち勝つんだジャック。
Why are you all not dying? Like, seriously, just give.
たまるか。
ザックそんなんだから守れないんだよもっと力を渇望しろ
Just die.
さえあれば。
few moments later
Just give it a rest.
やれたかな
Oh, you.
俺はやり遂げた。
さすがジャック一筋縄じゃいかないな。
本当ね。でももう失敗はこりごり。
なぜだ。
先に行って待ってるわ。
Bastards.
あとはお願い。
俺は。
許すなルフェインを。
You defending yourself, asswipe.
さすがジャックやっぱり強いよあんた。
Why is this so dramatic? Agreed.
Encoder.
やっと切り離すことができた旧世界だ向こうから接続されたらかなわないからなだから光と闇
Okay, okay, okay.
もし
There's a ladder here we can take.
兆しがあれば闇を透過しそれでもダメなら再創生をする
そうか。再創生の力。
I think I'm going to change back to White Mage here so I can use Haste and Thing together.
カオス。この世界の混沌を全て。 アッシュ、ジェード、ネオン、ソフィア、みんなで俺を導いてくれたんだ。すべては俺がカオスになるため。ルフェインども。
All right.
再創生の力などお前らには必要ない。この輝き全て破壊する。さて
Oh no.
誤解があるようだ。お前が消えるんだ。俺の内なる闇はお前より深く暗い。絶望を繰り返し続けたからな。だが
Why am I
あ
not?
の闇をもっと見せてみろ。
All right.
その闇ごと全て奪い取ってやる。コーネリアにルフェインの闇
Asshole. I need to make sure to use Lunatic more often so we can charge spell things quicker and do more damage. But I'm forgetting everything. This chaos is easier than Final Fantasy 1's chaos. Say that now. Say that for free. As you can see, Jack has anger issues. Can I get some chaos in chat? Folks, we've defeated chaos. Can I get some chaos? Alright, it's a running meme for this game. I need chaos in that chat. Ironically, we had emotes made for it, but not even for this game. That was just for my shenanigans in Magic the Gathering. The irony. So I'm talking about thank you, thank you. Skip that one. That's and that is Stranger Paradise. Do I recommend the game? Yes. Casually and speedrun. Speedrun, there's quite a few things there, and it's going to be interesting to learn some of the harder strats as well. But for anybody that does actually like Final Fantasy, well, you know, like the original Final Fantasies, it's an interesting spin on how Final Fantasy 1 set up. Not been the best run from my side of things here. There has been a lot of memes, but for a D-Rust, I'm not that angry. There we go. We have it. We are chaos. Does anybody want spoilers, or should I just skip this cutscene? Is anybody going to buy this game themselves to play right now? Tell me now, so I can square and ship it. Okay. So, as you can see, the 4 different crystals, so fire, water, earth, and all that.
闇伝いに時を遡ってジャックをここに呼んだんだ。
ルフェインジンもここまでは届かないわ。
You have all 4 of those, and who's at the center of it all?
面白い計画がある。
何？
俺たちが光の戦士を育てる。
へえ。
どうやって？
光の戦士はこのコーネリアで生まれる。ネオ。おそらく
Jack Garland. The very first boss you come across in Final Fantasy 1, Garland, Chaos himself. This is Jack Garland.
ルフェインの連中の好きにはさせるものか。ところでお前たち。
Effectively, the story of this goes, they go through the whole aspect of the Warrior of Light story, as you can see where it starts here, like you would in Final Fantasy 1. That's why it's all very, you know, similar for the most part in places where you fight all these different crystal people and that. Crystal people who protect crystals and whatnot. And they're stuck in almost what's like Groundhog Day, that they keep a balance of chaos so things don't get too out of hand. And they are people called Lufinians, who are like very forward race and that, very like a better, stronger race overall. So they keep things in check. And these are sent there to do so, you know, by being the Warriors of Light, doing this, that you're stopping chaos. But instead, to break the cycle, what they're going to do is he's going to become chaos instead. And those 4 are going to be Tiamat, Marilith, Lich, Kraken, and all that. And then the Warriors of Light are going to be born within Cornelia, like Neon was. And when they say they're going to train them up, is they're going to have to fight these. You know, they're going to do the original fight against Garland, then they're going to go and do the whole journey and that for Final Fantasy 1 to fight everyone at the crystals, so Lich, Kraken, Marilith, Tiamat, And then finally to beat Chaos, which is Jack himself, Garnered.
何をなさるつもりです？
そうですね。例えばセーラ様をさらって逃げるとか。
お父様が兵を出します。
And that's the origin story to Final Fantasy 1.
私がカオスになってしまうのもいいかもしれません。
今度は光の戦士が来ます。
覚えておくさ。
And for a not Final Fantasy game, because most people don't obviously contemplate it into there, I think it's a great spin-off game. And that's it. That's it, folks. Oh, we got to watch this scene. This is probably one of my favourite scenes, to be fair. Garland's probably one of my favourite Final Fantasy characters. I mean, just look at him, he's a badass.
奴らのか弱い光を見失わないよ。闇は濃くあらねばならない。
That armour.
俺たちは世界を最高の闇で染めてやるのだ。
Mm-hmm. Hey Quirk, do you think on the logo we can have like Garland's helmet? But behind it. And here comes the Warriors of Light, the ones you do recall from the games. And there's where the copyright comes in because of this tune, so